everybody. This is Benny Mancino, and this is Be in the Know. It's table games and more. And my guest tonight is a really good friend of mine, and somebody I really admire, and he's way smarter than me. And well, let's not talk about all that. But Mike Shackleford, the famous Wizard of Odds. Mike, good evening from Las Vegas.
Hey, Benny. Nice to see you. Thanks for the nice introduction.
So, Mike, what does the Wizard of Odds do during a 3-month shutdown?
Compared to most people, my life was probably less changed. I have been less busy. I do a lot of consulting work, and that dried up about 90%. But I still write as the Wizard. That hasn't changed, and still keep on top of all my various hobbies. And other than getting a little bit cabin fever, my life is much the same.
So you were the founder and creator of this great website, and if you've never been to the Wizard of Odds website, I suggest you get there. Especially, you know, my audience is more tapered to LinkedIn and the professionals of the table games industry. And if you don't know House Advantage, you're at a disadvantage. Let's put it that way. And if you don't know the rules of the game and how the strategies of the game, you're at a disadvantage. And Mike has been so gracious over the years to do all the work for us, because really, I'm lazy, and I would much rather go over his site and find out what's going on to do the work myself. So, Mike, I really appreciate that. So I know you no longer own the Wizard of Odds site. I know you still work for them and do parts of the site for them. I know you sold it, I think it was 2 or 3 years ago now?
2014. 2014.
So tell me, how, I think it really came by as just like a hobby for you, didn't it?
Yeah, so in the mid-90s, I was asked to create a website for who I worked for at the time, and I enjoyed that so much that I started just creating fun websites about, one was about math problems, and one was about baby names, and one was about gambling. And it was the gambling one that, without any advertising, became, I would say, the most trusted website about gambling on the internet. And it became such a success that I left a very secure government job and moved to Las Vegas to devote myself completely to it. So yeah, it started as just a hobby, and I had no advertising the first 3 years.
Yeah, and you know, if you're going to be in gaming or talk about odds, Las Vegas is a place to be. I know. When I was in Las Vegas, I went to a church, and the pastor said, you know, you think every pastor would want to come to Las Vegas and be a pastor because there's more sin here than anywhere else in the world, and you came here because there's more gaming than anywhere else in the world.
Yeah, so, plus I'm originally from Orange County, California, and it was nice to get back west. I moved back to Vegas from Baltimore. And thanks for all the nice words about my site. Although it was always meant to be a player reference to help players play better, I get more compliments from your side of the table than I do the players.
Well, it's definitely made a difference in my life. You know, I've been very successful, and I would have to attribute a lot of it to the Wizard of Odds website. You know, our experiences, you know, we've gotten together at a few places, and we met and kind of hit it off. And I know a few, when we were talking, you were talking about that you need a social media presence. And I think, you know, Heather from Las Vegas Aces has helped you a lot and steered you in the right direction. And now you've got a pretty significant social media presence out there. You're on, you know, you got your own website. You've got your own YouTube channel. You're on Twitter. Yeah, I mean, is there a platform that you're not on?
I'm not on Instagram. I think Twitter and Facebook and YouTube are my only ones. So YouTube I really enjoy. I like making videos, but I kind of have gone along kicking and screaming to Facebook and Twitter. So
I know you guys are doing a weekly broadcast, you and Heather from Vegas Aces?
Yep. So yeah, we do a live stream on a weekly basis now during the pandemic because at least I don't have as much other stuff to do. So we picked it up, the frequency.
So getting back to our history together, you know, I've consulted with you several times, and I've come up with several ridiculous ideas. and thrown them at you, and you've told me that they're stupid, which was a good thing to tell me, because I don't think you used them terms. But anyway, but then I came up with a couple good ones, and you really helped me create and mold these games to what they are. And you know, the first two that we put out when I was with Jack Entertainment were both winners. One was called Jack Jack, and the other one was called Hot Hand Dice. And now with the Hard Rock International, I've been able to keep the math, but I wasn't able to keep the trademarks on the games. So they'll be called Rockin' 21 and Hard Rockin' Dice. So that will happen pretty shortly. But do you do a lot of that besides, but you're consulting, you would do that for anybody that comes and asks you, right?
That's right. Unfortunately, you asked me really pretty easy ideas to analyze.
So what makes a good game, in your opinion?
I could talk about this all day long, but the number one thing is simplicity. Is you have to be able to explain the thrust of a game or a side bet to a player in under 30 seconds. And the big mistake most people make is their games are too complicated, and it takes them 5 minutes to make the pitch about it, and you walk away still not getting it. So simplicity is the number one thing. A game must be liked by both the player and the casino. So players can fall in love with a game, but if it's complicated and slow to deal, the casinos aren't going to like it. So it's a tough business, and and the rate of success for starry-eyed game inventors is really low.
And I know analyzing these games is something you just love to do, because I see you when you're at the table games conference, going booth to booth to booth, checking these things out, and it's just you can tell you have a lot of passion for it. Also, I hear the table games conference is on, so that's a good thing. So
I did not know that. So that's officially on?
It's officially on, and I think they want the Shack back. So we'll find out. I just talked to Charles the other day about the format, and hopefully we'll get good news, and this virus will stay under control.
Well, that's great news. I love that show, and so it'll be nice to getting back to something routine.
So you also create slot machines. Can you tell us a little bit about that process, and how do you do that?
Yeah, I do more slot machines than table games. A lot of them are for internet casinos or for small markets where the company isn't big enough to have their own mathematician, and they will present to me with their concept of a game, usually where they'll say, we want this, and that feature, and we want it to pay back this. And then I create the math model for it. I tell them, here's a pay table, here's the real stripping, here's any other rules that are going to be pertinent to the math, and usually deliver a spreadsheet. And then that's as far as I take it. I leave it up to them to actually do the graphics and implement it into an actual machine.
So how long does a process like that take? Months, weeks, days?
It really depends on the features. A simple game like Reel 'em In or Jackpot Party, I could do in 4 hours. But you see some ridiculously complicated features as well as multiple features that can sometimes interact with each other. And, in which case it may take 2 weeks or so. And usually there's a lot of hitting the ball back and forth, where lots of clients want everything, including the kitchen table, into the game, and then I give them back a model, and they say, well, this feature doesn't happen often enough, and this doesn't pay enough, and they want their cake and eat it too, and you have to really fight with them to cut down. Game can't be too generous. It has to achieve some kind of return percentage. So it's usually the clients that want too much in a game are the ones that are a little bit hard to deal with. And it's the same that's true in table games. Is one thing I learned early on is that the people with bad games tend to be bad clients, and people with good games tend to be good clients.
So getting back to table game instrument, a lot of people don't know that it's not that. It's hard to get one that works, but it isn't hard to get one out there, especially if you got a side bet that you would like to try on your games, and you're a organization like us, the Hard Rock or whatever. We want to make our own. We can do that, and I think a lot of people don't even know that. And if you're going to try that or you're going to attempt that, be sure you know the math and how the game works. There's so many people, you think of something up and you don't realize it, and then all of a sudden the game's going to get washed out because it's countable or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Use an expert like Mike to give you that advice, and you can get your own game, your own side bet out there. It was so cool having Jack Entertainment having Jack. It was, and it caught on so quick. It was just, it was a lot of fun. Let me ask you this, Mike. What do you think during this period that Las Vegas will have to do to survive? I've asked this question. I think I have asked it of all three Las Vegas residents, and all I see is the convention business is gone for a while. The club business is gone for a while, and the international flights are gone for a while. So what's the heart and soul that keeps Las Vegas going until all that comes back?
Yeah, I don't claim to be an expert in this area, but I think that the casinos need to cut their prices every way they can to try to entice people to come back and emphasize what they can do. I think that they should improve their gaming odds wherever they can. And I think they put out the message that, at least right now, I think this is a great time to come here because prices are really cheap. I think the staff is eager to get back to work. And I went out to some of the North Strip casinos on Friday, and for the most part, the staff were falling all over themselves being nice to me. And so I may have selfish motivations, but I would really encourage the world to come here to Vegas, while you can. It's a totally different Vegas right now. Still only about 60% of the Strip is open, but I think any restaurants you can walk right into, and despite limitations in number of players at the tables, I think that you will have no difficulty enjoying whatever you want to do here as long as it's allowed. Like, as you said, there's still no shows, no buffets, no sporting events, things like that. But yeah, great time to come in my opinion.
So the minute you take that 6-5 game and you change it over to a 3-2, you're putting a sale sign on there, say, hey, welcome back sale or something like that. Also, you talked about the staff and their attitudes. I've heard that time after time from 5, 6, 7, 8 different people. And my answer to that, this is the first time in Las Vegas history that all dealers at one time do not have burnout. So I think that's the key to that. So let me ask you this. I'm going to show you a little video, and I'm going to try. Casinos that are really abiding by the CDC policies and trying. Not everybody can do it. We can only mitigate. We're not going to stop this virus from floating in the air, but we can mitigate some of the circumstances. Do you this or a scene like that? Maybe it isn't going to be like that all the time. Is gambling more than one who's being a little bit more strict with their precautions?
Well, let's see. So on Thursday, I went to some of the North Strip casinos, and all the employees had masks, and most of them took your temperature before you got in. But then once you got in, I would say that the percentage of customers wearing masks was only about 20%. And it's difficult to social distance in a casino with everybody walking every which way, which is how the floors are kind of designed. And when I was there, it was not as busy as that clip you just played. Where was I going with this? But yeah, the mask wearing policy is optional, and you know, these young people like at the Cosmo in your clip, they think they're immortal. But so, and I think that that's going to scare away the older clientele that is more concerned with their safety. Like I heard that casinos like the M that get more of a retired clientele are really standing dead right now because the elderly people are still afraid to come out here because of the problems you just mentioned.
Yeah, well, that's where I kind of going with this. I just think they're going to have trouble balancing their business. I know Cosmo's 90% the new generation, but they still have other business, and you know, there's got to be some adherence somewhere. There's got to be from what I've heard, the Caesars properties are hitting a good balance of precautions and fun. And we'll see how it plays out. I mean, nobody's got a crystal ball into this. You know, I would hope this is we're nearing the end of the line with COVID-19, but without a vaccine, I still think we got to be very careful from this time forward. I know I'm very proud of my company I work for, the Hard Rock International, has very, very strict policies. We have you know, we have plexiglass barriers at every property. All the players and the employees have to wear masks all the time. The dealers are wearing gloves. The players can wear gloves. And we could get into a whole another topic about dealing carnival games face up and stuff. I know you've been asked that question a million times, even by me. I asked you about a couple of the games. But you know what? We'll see. We'll see. I mean, it's time will tell. But I'm glad to see that you've been healthy through all this, Mike.
Mm-hmm.
Hope the family's all been healthy. And I can't wait to get back out to Vegas and we can be together face to face, maybe mask to mask. I don't know what it'll look like by November, but I'm hoping. I haven't heard nothing about G2E, Mike, either. So I don't know if that's a go or a slow, or I just think it's the biggest kept secret. It's right up there with the Kentucky Fried Chicken recipe right now.
Yeah, if I could throw out a good word for the Bellagio, they have hand washing stations all over the casino floor. You don't need to go into a bathroom. There's a sink right there in front of you. And they have plexiglass barriers at every single table. So of the several casinos I visited, I thought that they were taking safety the most seriously.
Yeah, and I think, you know, it's been my opinion from word go, and I mean, I've been on so many of these webinars about this topic, why I don't know, but you know, my belief is if I'm wearing a mask, you're wearing a mask on table games, and I wash my hands and you wash your hands, we're doing about as best we can do. And I really love that idea of the MGM having the hand washing stations, and that's their company wide. They're in Mississippi, wherever they're at, they've got these hand washing stations. It's really very commendable. Hey, Mike, I got to go, but man, I really appreciate you taking time out of your schedule to spend a little bit with me. And I hope, like I said, I hope we get to see each other real soon. And you got any last words for the guests out there? And also, everybody, I'll be putting a link down here at the bottom underneath here where you got to click show more. And I'll have a link to Mike's book, his website, his Twitter site, and anything else I can think of. And make sure you subscribe, like, and share this website. Mike, last words are yours.
Thanks for the interview, Benny. That was fun. And whether or not you come to a casino or not, please just wash your hands a lot and be safe. And yeah, hope we get through this sooner rather than later.
Thanks a lot, Mike. Wizard of Oz, everybody.
Bye, Benny's audience.